All right, we made it up to the top of the roof, so now what do we do to cap this off? I'm gonna show you. Come on, creeps. We're gonna use ridge cap shingles. I bought these at the same place that I bought these shingles, and you buy them in the same color. Now at a glance, these are going to look just like the old school 3-tab shingles. Now these shingles are perforated, so you can cut right along the line and break out your 3 individual hip caps. Now one of these needs to be a starter, and I found one that's kind of boogered up from being in the top of the package. And what they want you to do is remove the portion that's exposed and start with this back portion here that's typically buried under the next hip cap, and you want to utilize this glue strip here as a starter. So we're going to go ahead and cut off the exposed portion. Now these are ridge cap shingles, but you'll oftentimes hear them called hip caps also, because they can be used to cover the hip of a roof if you have a hip roof, or also in our case just across a ridge like we're using. So obviously if this was a hip cap, you're going to start at the bottom and work your way up. In a ridge cap situation, you want to start away from the prevailing wind so that you work towards the prevailing wind, which would create a tendency for the prevailing winds to pass over top of the hip caps and not get up in underneath of them and try to flip them off. Obviously, you just want this to drape the same distance over each side of your hip. So when I look at that, fortunately in my case, that just means I'm basically going to follow the bottom edge of these shingles. If you land somewhere else on your shingle, you'd probably want to snap a line on one side so that you could stay nice and straight. I don't have a ridge vent in this situation, but just know that if you are installing hip caps on your house, you more than likely have a ridge vent, which means you would have a gap in your sheathing here for the hot air to escape, and there would be a little more to this operation than what I'm doing. But this is an unheated doghouse, so I can put the hip caps right on this and go. So our next piece is an actual full hip cap. We bring that out all the way to the end where our starter was. These particular instructions say to nail just behind the exposed part of the shingle and a ½ inch up from the ends. Now when you get to the end, you can just cut off the exposed part of the shingle. And then I just add some sealant to the tops of these nails. Truth be told, I don't know if that's exactly how you should do this. I looked on the instructions, I didn't see it referenced your last piece, so you might want to do your own research on that.